So there's another type of vaccine, the adenoviral vector vaccines. So the adenovirus is a totally different type of virus, and this is a picture of that. So adenoviruses, things that adenoviruses, not to make you totally paranoid, but they're everywhere. It's a big family of viruses, and at least 50 different types can infect humans. Now, should you be totally freaked out that they're everywhere? Ubiquitous means they're found pretty much everywhere. Well, they're a frequent cause of common colds, respiratory infections, and fever. They're not the same thing as influenza viruses. So there are many things that can cause the common cold. There's actually many viruses. It's not just one type of virus. The adenoviruses are one of the viruses that can cause a cold. But the thing is that most of adenoviral infections are asymptomatic. So I think when I was trying to find when humans first encountered adenoviruses, and I think when I was looking up viral evolution, which is like something totally like, I won't get into that, but it's a very complicated subject. But thing is that they suspect, the only number I could really find is that maybe their first encounter with adenoviruses was between 5 to 10 million years ago. So what are adenoviruses? Well, let's put it in simple terms. These were adenoviruses 5 million years ago, around there, and these are adenoviruses now. Throughout human evolution, we've evolved defenses against adenoviruses. So adenoviruses, this is why sometimes we can be infected and have no symptoms, not even a fever, not even a cough, because adenoviruses now, they're pretty weak sauce compared to how the other viruses out there, or maybe adenoviruses when we first encountered them. So most viruses that hang around as long as adenoviruses, they get weaker and weaker and weaker. So this is what adenoviruses are. Now, how do we use them for vaccines? Again, this is our big baddie, our SARS-CoV-2, right? So what do we do is that, again, we look inside the genetic structure of SARS-CoV-2. We don't want the stuff that allows it to replicate. We just want that, that's not the only strategy, but again, this is the strategy that pretty much every non-inactivated virus vaccine is using right now. We're going to target those spike proteins the coronavirus uses to attach to our cells. So we're going to get rid of the rest of the genome. We just want the spike protein, and we're going to transfer just that part into an adenovirus. So the thing is that we want the adenovirus and actually you have to go from mRNA to DNA, because the adenovirus actually has DNA instead of mRNA, but actually that's a little complicated. But we just take the same information and put it into adenovirus. That's what I'm getting at. So what do adenoviruses do? Well, they pretend this is SARS-CoV-2. So this is the big baddie. It has all the spike proteins. And yeah, so this SARS-CoV-2 is ruining everyone's life. But what are we going to do? We're going to just take the spike protein part. The spike, or not the spike protein, or we're going to take the genetic information for the spike protein. Again, we're not going to get the rest of the enzymes and other proteins needed to replicate. We just want the spike protein. We just want the surface protein. And then we're going to take that genetic information and transfer it into our weak adenovirus. Our weakened adenovirus is going to produce these spike proteins, or actually to infect your cells. So they do infect your cells, and your cells are going to but the thing is that now that your cells have the genetic information for the spike protein, they can produce the spike protein and train your immune system. So yeah, this is the whole thing behind that adenoviral vector. So yeah, this is it compared to the original coronavirus, which again wrecks your respiratory and cardiovascular system. If you have adenovirus that produces minimal, so it is an infection, but adenoviruses are really weak. So this is, adenoviral vector vaccines. You might have heard of that Sputnik V from Russia, and this is behind that. It's approved or emergency use in 60 different countries. So again, Sputnik V uses adenoviruses. So again, it's using the spike protein, but transferring it from SARS-CoV-2 into adenoviruses. And then the Oxford and AstraZeneca, you probably have heard of this one. So this is a collaboration between the United Kingdom and Sweden. And this one is pretty widespread. So again, in the European Union and Canada, Mexico, and a lot of the Western countries in South America as well. And then you might have heard of the Johnson and Johnson. So this is a big difference between that and so again, and the Moderna and the Pfizer. Johnson and Johnson uses this type of vector. And the thing is that, like, and some of these, depending on the company, sometimes they make it where the adenovirus, it can't replicate once it's in your body. Some make it so that the adenovirus can replicate at a very slow rate so that it's able to make more copies, distribute that spike protein gene further, more widespread in your body. So this is why these vaccines have different sort of different efficacy, because it like depends on like which adenoviruses. Again, there's many types of adenoviruses, and the strength, like how weak is it? Does the adenovirus replicate, if at all? That's the big differences between these adenovirus vectors. But the overall concept behind these, take that spike protein from coronavirus and put it in a very weak virus. So that's how these work.